To bring up Cleveland, though, backcourts. Kyrie is a backcourt player for the Cavaliers. And
They have a good backcourt. They're not one of the top 5.
Well, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about top 5 NBA backcourts because we're seeing basically the greatest, one of the best pairing of backcourts we've seen. Probably in NBA history. I don't want to declaim that yet, but
it's the Splash Brothers.
But it's the Splash Brothers. It's the ridiculous of Steph Curry pulling up from 37 feet and draining it. It's Klay Thompson being able to put up 30 a night when Steph Curry is putting up 51 a night. The best backcourt in the NBA is Golden State. I don't think we have a disagreement there.
No doubt.
You and Mark did, best 5 wide receivers on the onside kick.
What would be the best for 2016? Yeah. But we can talk about what's the best right now because we're mid-season. We
can. And, you guys wanted to save your number 1 for the last thing. We can just come out and say, Golden State is the best backcourt in the NBA. I mean, Klay Thompson and Steph Curry, both top 10 players in the NBA. Curry most likely being the best player in the NBA.
Let's do it this way. Unless you totally object to it, that's fine. How about... We'll start with you because you're the gracious host. And
okay.
You give your top 5. We'll talk about it for a bit. Then give my top 5, no particular order, and then some honorable mentions at the end.
All right. The only team that will actually be ranked, number 1, Golden State. Then I'm going to go into Toronto. Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan, phenomenal backcourt, leading the Raptors into a kind of a Cinderella story here. I didn't think Toronto was going to be the second best team in the Eastern Conference. I thought the Chicago Bulls would be up there, but they've really fallen off the table. I think Lowry has cemented himself as a top point guard in this league. DeMar DeRozan cementing himself as a top shooting guard in this league. You go to L.A. for the Clippers. I think Chris Paul is probably a top 2, top 3 point guard in the league, and I think J.J. Redick is probably the second best shooter in the league, or at least a top 5 shooter in the league. I won't say top 2, but I think Steph's number 1. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Steph's 1, Klay's 2, and then I think Redick's in that 3 to 5 range for best shooter. So I think L.A. Clippers have one of the best backcourts. Then you got to go to Portland. Damian Lillard's a monster. He's putting up ridiculous numbers. I mean, Lillard, if he leads Portland far, he might be I'm not gonna say he's the MVP, but I think he can definitely be in the contention for MVP. I think Steph's kind of basically got it locked down, but I think if it was gonna be going to anyone else, I think Lillard's name would definitely be thrown in there. And CJ McCollum, most improved NBA player this year. He's been looking phenomenal in that 2 position. And then I'm gonna go to Washington. Bradley Beal has not been playing, but when he's been playing, he's been looking phenomenal. And I think John Wall, he wants to be recognized as one of the top point guards in the NBA, and I honestly think he is. I think he's definitely top 5, a top 5 point guard in the league, and I think Bradley Beal's another phenomenal player on the wing. So I think that's my top 5. Honorable mentions here. I'm going to throw this one for Dave. I'm going to go to Philadelphia for Nick Stauskas and Ish Smith.
Ish. It's all about Dave's ish.
That's the only honorable mention I'll throw in. But we'll hear yours, and then we'll throw in your other honorable mentions.
We're in agreement with 3 teams. It's kind of like how me and Mark had. We're in agreement with 3 teams. Mm-hmm. Golden State.
Obviously, yeah.
Toronto, DeMar, and Lowry are just phenomenal. And I'd even say Portland. CJ McCullough, Damian Lillard. I threw them in last second. Sean's kind of throwing ahead. Here's the reason why I threw them in last second. I looked at each stats. Both are averaging 20 a game. I'd be stupid not to put these guys in the top 5 backcourts. Here's the problem I have. 4, Boston. Fine, they're in. Here's the problem. At 5, I have 4 teams vying for that last spot. Minnesota, between, according to the depth chart, it says Andrew Wiggins and Ricky Rubio. I also have the Chicago Bulls, Derrick Rose and Jimmy Butler, who's your father. Indiana you've got Ellis and George Hill, and then Miami with the Heat. And I kind of want to put the Bulls in there at 5. And the reason is Indiana, Ellis, and Hill aren't having. They're not averaging as much this year.
They're not averaging that much because they're not that good anymore. They're not that good. Monte Ellis hasn't been good. I mean, he's been decent, but I mean he's not the player anymore. He can't be a number 1 player. So I don't think he's anywhere close to. I don't know. I mean, Chris Paul is pretty good. And J.J. Redick's one of the best shooters in the league. But anyways, keep going.
I kind of want to make it between. I mean, Miami to me, D Wade is a phenomenal player. However, is Dragic really pulling his weight?
No,
is
also
Dragic
D-Wade's
pulling
getting
the weight?
old.
Yeah, D-Wade's getting old, but this has been a lot better of a season for D-Wade, especially in the absence of LeBron. To me, the choice comes down to the Bulls or the T-Wolves at 5.
Oh my God.
And I'm going to put the Bulls in at 5, mainly because Ricky Rubio averages only 10 points a game. However, he does average 8.7 assists per game.
Because he's passing it to Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins.
Because
Rubio is not good.
Because of the points, I got to put the Bulls at 5 with Derek and Butler. More so for Butler.
Okay, you just talked about how they need to get rid of Derrick Rose, and now you're putting him in the top 5 backcourt?
Doesn't mean he's not a good... Okay, the reason why I feel like we got to move on from Derrick Rose is because his tenure in Chicago is done. Is he a type of player that I would love to have on my team? Yes.
No.
But with what comments he's made as of late saying, I got to look out for free agency. If I'm not 100% in the playoffs, I'm not going to play. That's the reason why I want him out of town. Do I want to draft a point guard because I know in a couple years he may not be with us anymore? Yes. But I still think that he's not the number one in our backcourt. Jimmy Butler's carrying this backcourt. But I still think the duo of them is better than Rubio and Wiggins.
I agree that Butler's the best shooting guard in the league, but Rose is dead weight. Rose is, he's dragging both of his knees behind. Garpax is ready to take him out back and shoot him in the head because he's not what he used to be.
Still got 16 points.
Because
this year.
Butler's been out, so he had to step up. D Rose is not the same player D Rose is.
I'm not saying he's the same player.
He's not a top 5, he's not even in the discussion of top 10 point guards, I would say, this year. I don't think he's even close. You got Chris Paul in LA, who is a top 3 point guard in the league, and you have JJ Redick. I mean, he's no Jimmy Butler, but he's better than D Rose, and I'll take JJ Redick over Derek Butler this season, or Derek Rose over the season.
See, the Clippers were a team that I thought of, but they were
Cool. All right. Well, hold on. For my upcoming ones, I wrote honorable mentions and upcoming. I have Detroit because I think Reggie Jackson's phenomenal and I think Caldwell Pope can be something. And then I wrote Minnesota, but not because of Ricky Rubio, because Ricky Rubio isn't anything special.
No, because of Zach LaVine.
I think you could put LaVine at
Andrew Wiggins.
LaVine at point, and you could put LaVine at point, and you could put Muhammad at small shooting guard. Or you could leave Wiggins at shooting guard. I think those two can be phenomenal, but I don't think Wiggins is a top player yet. I think he can become one, but I don't think he's a top player yet. So I don't think Wiggins is even in the discussion for top 5 backcourt, especially with Rubio. And Rubio has those inflated numbers because he's passing to a Wiggins and he's passing to a Towns. I don't think Rubio is that good of a point guard. And honestly, I'd probably take Derrick Rose over Ricky Rubio right now. So I mean, maybe Chicago. I agree with your pick that Minnesota or Chicago over Minnesota, but Chicago is an honorable mention for me just because of Jimmy Butler, but they're out of it because of Derrick Rose holding them down. Boston, you have Thomas, but I mean Avery Bradley, he isn't a star. He isn't he's a great role player, but he's nothing special. You got Cleveland, Kyrie, phenomenal point guard. J.R. Smith isn't anything.
J.R. Smith will only shoot he'll only nail threes if you let him.
OKC, I mean you got Westbrook,
Deion Waiters.
Yeah, you got Westbrook, who's top 5 player in the NBA. You got Deion Waiters and your small, you got Deion Waiters on your wing, which just takes you down. So I mean, I think you're a fool. Basically, I think you're a fool for that Chicago.
No, my 5 would, and I'm sitting here: Golden State, Portland, Toronto, Boston, and Chicago. Boston and Chicago, right there.
Oh my
but
God!
Some of my honorable mentions: Orlando, Washington.
Orlando. How is Orlando a top backcourt?
I said honorable mention. I'm not saying they're...
Name their backcourt.
Oladipo and Payton.
They're not a top backcourt in the NBA.
That's why they're an honorable mention. They're not as good as the top 5, so they're an honorable mention.
Okay.
I think they have the potential to one day be something.
Potential, yes.
And right now they're decent to where they're an honorable mention.
I have honorable mentions and then I have upcoming ones. I might put them in my upcoming ones, I'm still afraid to put that.
You're not going to like the other 2 honorable mentions that I had.
So who are your honorable mentions so far?
Washington or Orlando.
Okay, Washington's respectable.
I would say the Los Angeles Lakers, but I'm saying Jordan Clarkson and D'Angelo Russell.
That's fair
not
for
Lou Williams.
That's fair for upcoming.
And then I've got Harden and Beverly in Houston.
Okay,
an honorable mention.
My honorable mentions are OKC because of Westbrook, because he's a top 5 player in the NBA, weirdly enough. Kyrie, because he's a top 5 point guard in the NBA, weirdly enough. You got Boston and Isaiah Thomas, who, Isaiah Thomas is phenomenal. But
One of
Bradley's
my top five.
Role player, yeah, but they're an honorable mention because they're not a top 5 duo. You got Chicago because Butler's phenomenal. Butler's, near top 5 area for best NBA players. And you got Houston with Harden, who Harden's phenomenal, but I don't believe in Patrick Beverley. You're going to put Elfrid Payton and Victor Oladipo in the same discussion with Westbrook, and I would.
The Thunder, to me, are in a completely different category. Because if we were talking, really their 1-2 punch is Durant and Westbrook. But that's technically not a backcourt, so they wouldn't be an honorable mention for me. Westbrook is great, but he can't be an honorable mention when your
Clippers didn't even make your honorable mention.
When your backcourt mate is Dion Waiters. To me, it's J.J. Redick bringing down, and to me, wait. The Clippers, to me, you could say comparably stat-wise to Rose and Butler. Rose and J.J. Redick, points per game and assists per game, very similar. Jimmy Butler, he's not going to throw out 9 assists.
Who's the better team?
Wait.
Who's the better team?
Wait. He's not going to throw out 9 assists like CP3, but he's averaging more points than CP3.
Okay.
So to me, I see that duo as a better. They're my top 5.
Okay. So you're talking that Derrick Rose is the one that holds back Chicago's backcourt, and JJ Redick holds back the Clippers backcourt. Okay. So you got D Rose.
The Clippers have a better team, overall team. They've got DeAndre Jordan. We don't got DeAndre Jordan down low.
Okay, all right. So you have
JJ, fucking Blake Griffin,
who's been out, and the Clippers been better without fucking Blake Griffin. Okay, so JJ Redick averaging 16 points per game and basically minimal assists, minimal rebounds, but he's a small forward. D Rose averaging 16.5 points per game, 4.8 assists, and 3.6 rebounds. But look at the shooting percentages. Derrick Rose from three-point land is shooting 27%.
Do we need him to shoot from 3? No.
Okay.
He's a slasher.
JJ Redick,
a budget slasher now because
JJ Redick is shooting 48% from three-point land. 48%. That is near 50%, which is almost better, which is way better than D Rose's field goal percentage, which is at 42%.
Derrick Rose doesn't need to shoot the 3. And
but he needs to be able to shoot the ball, and JJ Redick shoots the 3 ball better than D Rose actually shoots the ball.
And he's been holding up the Bulls while Butler's been out. And the Bulls, I gotta say, an honorable mention for the Bulls has to be E'Twaun Moore, because E'Twaun Moore came in and said, "You know what? I'm gonna hold this down until Butler gets back."
So you're saying that even with E'Twaun Moore in the backcourt?
Oh no! If E'Twaun Moore is if it's E'Twaun Moore and Rose, they're easily out.
I was gonna jump this table. I was gonna jump this table.
I'm not going that far.
D Rose, 28 minutes per game, or I'm sorry, 31 minutes per game. So he's getting more minutes than JJ Redick, who has 28 minutes per game.
I just want you guys to know that Sean has now stood up.
I'm pissed.
He's no longer
I'm pissed. When I said I'm close to strangling you. I think we should end this. I think we should really end this. I don't know if we should end this podcast, this episode, just this whole relationship, this whole partnership. I don't know, Rick. I think we're going to really need to, dissect our relationship.
Blame Dave. He didn't show up, and he was the one that
he gave us this topic.
He suggested this topic.
Fuck you, Dave. Thank you, Dave, for ruining my life, ruining my Saturday. Thank you, Dave Oster, for not showing up and giving us this terrible topic. Thank you, everyone out there who has been listening to the Fast Break podcast. It's been great seeing our numbers jump up. It's been really fantastic seeing all the support from you guys, so we really appreciate it here from Ricky and I, even though I'm close to killing Ricky, and Ricky might not be on next week. But anyways, thank you for listening. Thank you for just giving us all this love and support. If you do want to support us, subscribe down below. If you're listening to YouTube, follow us on SoundCloud so you never miss one of our podcasts. Like on YouTube, like on SoundCloud, repost on SoundCloud, share it to all your Twitter followers and all your Facebook friends, because we really appreciate the support again. And we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So if you want to give us that support, it'd be great. Follow us on Twitter at Most Valuable Pod. Follow me at Twitter at Schwarbo. Follow Ricky on Twitter at Ricky Widmer. Like our Facebook page and do all the other stuff, because we really love support. We love when you guys support us. We love when you guys listen, and we're really just doing this for you guys out there. But anyways, this is going to wrap up this Fast Break podcast. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next week.
Thank you for listening to this MVP podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Most Valuable Pod for more great podcasts.